Who has captured escapee Antoine Massey before says it's only a matter of time before Massey and Derek Groves are caught again.
As Rob Besson reports, with the reward money now increased, dozens of bounty hunters may be looking to cash in.
I've dealt with Massey. I've personally arrested Massey.
Bail bondsman and electronic monitor specialist Matt Dennis has apprehended dozens of escaped prisoners and knows firsthand what escaped Orleans Parish inmate Antoine Massey is capable of.
When we dealt with Massey, I warned my team, be careful, he's playing stupid. You could tell that he wasn't stupid. You knew that he was looking for opportunities. So I actually made them use the full gear, the handcuffs, the shackles, and everything after he escaped us.
Dennis recaptured Massey in November of 2023, 2 hours after he cut off an electronic monitor.
When I saw his face on television after he escaped, I went, you got to be kidding me.
Now Massey, who's wanted for rape and kidnapping in St. Tammany, as well as domestic abuse and theft in Orleans Parish, along with Derek Groves, who's been linked to 4 killings, remain on the loose, and Dennis isn't surprised.
Massey's going to be high up on the food chain when it came to planning this. He didn't follow people out this hole. This is somebody who worked this and made this happen.
This is video just posted on an Instagram account by Massey, which a law enforcement source says they are now looking into. He's proclaiming his innocence. This video notwithstanding, last week authorities raised a reward of $50,000 for Massey's rearrest, and some bounty hunters may be encouraged.
Hey, yo, what up, my 1751 family? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man. And for those of you who've already subscribed to this channel, I'd like to take my hat off to y'all. Y'all's support is very much appreciated. And for those of you who have yet to subscribe to this channel, what you waiting for? Go on over, take a second to go over and smash the subscribe, man. Don't forget to hit the bell notification while you at it. Anyway, man, today we're gonna be getting into this, this New Orleans jailbreak. I'm quite sure a lot of you are, already familiar with a lot that's going on with this jailbreak in New Orleans. Now, just a quick recap. About 2.5 to 3 weeks ago, you had a situation in New Orleans, Louisiana, where you had about 10 inmates who somehow manipulated their way, on the outside of that wall. How they did it, not exactly sure, but there's a lot of speculation, about a maintenance man who was allegedly threatened and supposedly went into that cell, the handicap cell, and turned the water off. Now, how the guys got behind the toilet and took the structure from the wall, that's beyond me. I have no answers for that. But somehow they got the job done. Whether I believe it was done with hair clippers, nah, not likely. Now, this situation has been catching headlines, man. For the last two weeks or so. And it's been a lot unfolding, man, day in and day out. As of now, man, they have captured 8 of the escaped inmates, and they have a slew of people that are being brought up on charges for assisting these guys, man. Aiding and abetting. Before and after the fact. So where we stand today with the situation, you still have 2. You still have 2 escapees on the loose, and somehow they're managing to stay free. Obviously, they haven't left the United States, but some way, I'm not sure how, whether they're getting help or these guys are just using their brains and staying low the best way they know how. I'm not sure, right? But one thing I do know is that there are two dangerous individuals who are still free. Now, every day, the authorities they give press, every day or two, and they make sure that they continue to assure the people that the search is still going strong. They're not letting up. You know, they're going to leave no rock unturned. You know, and they promise that they will eventually bring these guys back into custody. As you see, you know, they've been doing just that. They recovered 8 of these guys already. Now, the 2 who are still on the loose is a guy by the name of Derek Groves and Mr. Massey. You know, and was Antoine Massey. Antoine Massey. Now, Antoine Massey is the guy, you know, with the tattoos all over his face, resembling, you know, a street guy, or, you know, as they like. I have tattoos on my face, so, you know, I know the stigma attached to people like myself who have tattoos in certain areas of the body, you know, which, you know, could cause people to discriminate or just judge us, you know, because of our tattoos, you know. But tattoo doesn't make a person guilty, you know. But obviously this guy was found guilty, you know, in a court of law. You know, once these people find you guilty in a court of law, whether you've done the crime or you didn't do the crime, you're going to serve the punishment, you know, whether you're innocent or not. You know, now, this brother, Antoine Massey, he's been on a run, coming up on 2 weeks now. You know, he's one of the last 2, you know, that are still on the loose. And as you can see, this brother right here, this is Antoine Massey. Now, as you can see, this brother, he done got fresh, you know, he looked comfortable. I'm quite sure he's not, you know, nowhere to go. You know, you don't belong out here. You can't just, you know, go out on the town and enjoy yourself. You know, like I'm quite sure he would like to. But I believe that what this guy is doing, man, is like a checkmate in so many ways. You know, there's been a lot of corruption going on inside of that jailhouse that he was housed at. And these guys escaping is the reason why these issues, you know, that were going on inside of that jailhouse are now getting exposed. You know, they're now being exposed about the faulty locks, you know, just all kind of little, you know, problems going on with the building, which should have led to them, you know, shutting that building down. They shouldn't be housing inmates in a building that is, you know, short on staff and just underpaid, underfunded. You know, the upkeep in that prison is not up to par, obviously. Now, this guy Antoine Massey, he has quite the history, man. You know, I did a little bit of research on his brother, and a guy who's very familiar with Antoine Massey and his family and his loved ones, he took to YouTube, you know, about, you know, a few days ago. He took to YouTube and you know, he kind of revealed, you know, the kind of try to give us an outlook, you know, a certain perspective on Antoine Massey's character.
How smart he is and all that. There's a possibility for him to not get caught. Take a long time for him to catch him. He had the potential to really be on the go for the long haul. I'm not taking that away from none of them other dudes. I don't know them. I know him personally.
Law enforcement is playing a possibly dangerous game of cat and mouse with a man all too familiar with breaking the rules.
Antoine Massey.
Escapee Antoine Massey, who was accused in court documents of threatening to stab Williams prior to the jailbreak.
Massey threatened to stab him if he didn't help. Massey should never have been placed in the general jail population to begin with.
You talking about a kid, like they paint a picture of him as being this heinous person, but you talking about a kid that was failed by the system, man. His daddy was killed. Well, they found out who did it, and they let him back out of jail. That if that dude wanted to come back out of jail and just home everybody who was in that house, he had the opportunity. The state gave him the opportunity. And shit, man, it's ironic that if Antoine would have escaped the day before, they'd have been trying to pin the dude murder probably on little Antoine. You know what I'm saying? Just because.
You know, and this guy says that, Antoine Massey, of course, he was a troubled kid. You know, you can't deny that. You know, the guy has, he broken out of jail multiple times. This is probably about his third time, including breaking away from house arrest at one point. About an hour after he got the ankle monitor on his ankle. I'm guessing as soon as the officer left, he popped that thing off his ankle and went on a run. So that's also considered an escape. So that's about 3 escapes. He had one from juvenile hall, one from ankle monitor, and then he got this one here. Right? Now, the reason I say Antoine Massey has a quite interesting history is because the backstory on this brother, man, when he was very young, when he was a very young child, his father was, tragically gunned down, man. His father was tragically gunned down in front of the family. And the killers was said to have put the gun to the little guy's head, man. They put the gun to the little guy's head, man. And that could traumatize somebody, man, for the rest of their life. And if you're not having therapy sessions, man, to try to help you cope with the trauma, it could really lead to some bad characteristics, man. It could lead to a young guy just choosing the wrong path, and being full of anger, man, and anxiety. But yeah, man, this guy, he has quite the history, man. So does the other guy, man, Derrick Grove, from his grandmother being murdered in front of the family as well. Grandmother was murdered, shot down by a corrupt police officer who sent a hit, on Derrick Grove's grandmother before Derrick Grove was born. So both of these guys, man, who are still on the loose, they both have some very, very interesting histories, man. The context of these guys, man, is it's not a happy. They didn't have a happy childhood, obviously, man. Just knowing that your grandmother or your father was gunned down right in front of you, or I know my grandmother was gunned down, and I heard about it, even though I wasn't born when it happened. I would definitely have a vendetta against the police, for putting a hit on my grandmother. Although it's not, all of them didn't do it, but guilty by association, I would hate all of them. And he has every right to feel the way he feels. But we're not talking about Derrick Rose, not on this, not on this episode. We're going to get into the Derrick Rose, but today we're going to be discussing Antoine Massey. Now, Antoine Massey said that he was railroaded. He said he was railroaded, man. He said back in November 2024, which was just a year ago. So I'm guessing his case is moving fast because he was, convicted of this case. And he's saying that he was wrongfully convicted because the woman who said that he scraped her, she actually came forward. She signed a statement, you know, saying that all those allegations were false, you know, and if you heard Antoine Massey's revelation, you know, on social media, you would have heard him say, you would have heard him make sure that he stressed this. He put these in parentheses. You know, this woman was no child. She was a grown woman. She was a grown woman that this man was dating. They were dating.
He was bad on the violation of protective order, right? On this woman right here, her name is Diamond White. That's her name. This is a district attorney drop form right here. And she's not a child. She's an adult, a full adult. I was dating this woman. This is a legalized affidavit saying all allegations against me is false. You remember, all allegations against me is false. I was nowhere around her or none of that during the timing of the date, which was November the 10th of 2024. Okay.
Sent him to a county where he was already facing charges for a vehicular homicide and some other charges. But this case in particular about the woman, the scrape, he said that they convicted him, they railroaded him. He should have never been convicted of that case. But just the simple fact that this brother didn't have any funds, he didn't have any money to pay for a good legal team, you know, to represent him in his defense. So that being the case, ended up, you know, left the brother, you know, being found guilty of scrape. And when I say scrape, man, scrape is no one wants that. No one wants that on their jacket, man. You know, whether you did it or not. You know, if you did it, you deserve to have it on your jacket, and you're sick. You're sick. You know, only a sick man takes the cooties, man. Only sick men takes the cooties, man. You know, it's. But whether I believe the brother did it or he didn't do it, you know, that's neither here nor there. The brother was found guilty of it, and that's all that matters, man. Sadly, that's the way it is, you know, because a lot of people, man, people who've never been arrested before, they look at inmates and they say, well, they must have done something to end up in that situation. Why should I feel sorry for them? But I need people who've never been arrested before. I need you to understand. I need you to understand this, because this type of topic is very personal to me, man. Because I've been in the type of situation myself. You know, I've been facing heavy numbers. You know, damn near life in prison over a crime that I did not commit because of my reputation. Simply because of my reputation at the time, you know, when I was arrested. So I know how ugly and greasy the feds could play. You know, they don't abide by the rules of the state, the laws of the state. You know, they're able to bend rules and twist everything, and you know, they got tricks, man. I'm gonna just put it that way. You know, they got all kind of tricks, but they wasn't tricky enough to get me, you know. But anyway, man, this brother, I believe that what he's doing, man, is kind of a smart move, you know. While he's out, the brother is taking it upon himself to expose the corruption within that facility, you know, that he was housed at. All the corruption that goes on in there, man. You know, he also mentioned about the guy Sterling. You know, the maintenance man. Which, when he mentioned this maintenance man, And he questioned, why would they pick me out of all 10 inmates who escaped? Why would they pick me to say that? For him to say, why would he pick Antoine Massey to say that Antoine Massey is the one who threatened to stab him if he didn't turn the water off? You know, he asked that on his social media revelation. You know, he's curious to know why this brother Sterling, I believe his name's Sterling Wilson or Williams, you know who I'm talking about, the maintenance man, right? Now, when he asked this question, it also raised a question in my head too, man. You know, from a guy who's been in these facilities, man. Anytime there's a maintenance man on a block around inmates, there should always be a CO, you know, security guard, you know, assisting this guy to, you know, whatever cell he's going in. There should always be a guard around, because this guy's a civilian and he's around inmates. You know, his life could be in danger. You know, anything could happen. And the jail, you know, the state, well, the city will be held accountable, you know, for his injuries. If anything were to happen to this maintenance man, being the fact that he's back there, you know, close enough to be attacked by these inmates without any type of security. You know, but yeah, that does raise a lot of questions, man, when you think about it. You know, if the guy Sterling is meant, you know, is stating that the reason why he turned the water off was because Antoine Massey threatened to stab him if he didn't. You know, if he didn't comply, he was gonna, you know, end up having harm brought to him. You know, but it just the reason I say it raised so many questions, man, is because that is very unlikely that a jail guard or jail maintenance man is going to be threatened by an inmate and choose to, when this man can walk out the door and literally let someone know that this inmate is threatening to bring me harm. You know, it just doesn't sit. It just that doesn't make sense to me that, you know, a person would leave out and come back and turn the water off instead of going to tell, you know, the authorities that you have an inmate in here that's threatening to bring me harm if I don't turn his water off so that he can escape. You know, because if you think about it, Sterling wouldn't be, you know, the maintenance man, he wouldn't be ratting. You can't consider him a rat. He's not a gangster. He's not a street guy. The man is working a 9 to 5 or whatever shift he was working. You know, the man has he has a day job, man. You know, and people like that, man, you know, civilians can't be snitches, man. A civilian is off limits. They cannot be a snitch, man. You know, if you threaten a civilian, they have every right to go to the police. You know, and they should. You know, because they're not involved, you know, with the type of activity that you're involved with. So if you threaten a person does not live in that type of life, then you deserve to have, you deserve to be told on. You know, and you can't call him a snitch. You know, yeah, when Antoine Massey released this video, it's kind of putting the system out there, man. You know, the fact that all this is playing out the way it is, man. I'm anxious to see how, you know, this movie is going to end, because like I said, you still got these two guys, Antoine Massey and Derek Groves, on a run, and these two guys are considered to be armed and dangerous. You know, as you know, they have to consider these guys armed and dangerous because they are escapees. And a lot of times, if these guys have the balls to break out, then they could likely have the balls to stand on business and say, I'm not going back in there. That will have to kill me. You know, not saying that this is how these guys are going to play it out. Hopefully these guys, hopefully this young man got a plan, to put that. If I were him, I would put this statement out, right? And then I would go find a lawyer, find a good lawyer to turn myself in. I would have a lawyer take me back down there and turn myself in. I had my time out here on the streets, he had his experience, and now it's time, the movie got to end somewhere, man, and you don't want it to end. You don't want it to end with just being Swiss cheese, man, with AR, with AR style rifles, man. You know what I mean? You don't want it to end up that way, man, because these people, they are eager. They are eager, man. Now they're saying they have the bounty hunters. They have the bounty hunters looking for these two individuals, man, these two escapees. And if these guys so happen to get caught before they turn themselves in, I just hope, man, they don't off these young guys, man, because they're spending a lot of money, man. It's causing them a lot of money day in, day out. It's causing them a lot of embarrassment because the community has their trust that they're going to find these guys, and it's taking mighty long, man. And people are, the frustration is growing by the day. These guys, man, I have to say, wherever they are, man, whoever is helping these people, man, whoever's helping these people, man, I hope that they are making sure they're covering every single track that they make, man, because these people are working night and day, man, tirelessly, and they're locking up accomplices, man, left and right. Anybody that they come in contact with is being arrested. As you see, they just arrested 5 more accomplices, man, for accessory after the fact, after these guys escape. Everybody that they come in contact with, the police is on their trail, man. And it's getting more interesting by the day. Now, whether these people are going to be convicted of these crimes, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it, man. You know why? Because it's one thing to arrest a person for associating or assisting these individuals, but the DA has to prove that case, and it's going to be hard to prove a case that these people 100% knew that Antoine Massey and Derrick Groves escaped from that jail. Everybody's not tuned into social media, and everybody's not tuned into the news. See, what the DA is going with, their argument as to why they're arresting these people who helped these brothers is that there is no way that these people didn't know that these guys escaped, because these guys are plastered all over every media platform and in all the different news channels, right? But understand this, that's just an allegation, All you need is a good lawyer. Oh, you don't even need the best lawyer. That's the easy case, man, to prove that my client didn't, you can't expect my client to know that these people escaped. Had my client known that these guys escaped, I can almost guarantee you my client would have never assisted them in his, in his activity, man, in eluding law enforcement, right? Now, just because a person is plastered all over, these different platforms and the different news channels, doesn't mean every single person in society knows that, are aware that these guys are on the loose. Because I can tell you right now, I stumbled across this shit. I could probably name about 50 people that's close to me that probably don't know shit about this escape. And I'm quite sure there are people in New Orleans who still don't know that these guys escaped. People that's so busy in their own life that if they see these guys and they ain't seen them in a long time, and you ain't been on social media, or you might have been on social media, but it just didn't happen to come across your feed, and you don't watch the news, right? That could be a situation, man, where you just meet a guy, man, damn, what's up, dog? I ain't see you in a minute. Dap him up, you know what I'm saying? And he need a ride down, such and such street. Come on, man. It's that simple, and it's that easy and simple, man, to get caught up. And for a person to be arrested just for giving these people a ride, I can understand why the authorities would say that they're accomplice, accessory after the fact. But they're gonna have to prove that. There's so many loopholes, man. There's so many ways to wiggle up out of that. You can't expect I don't care how many platforms these guys are plastered over. You cannot. There's no guarantee that everybody in the population is aware, of these guys' whereabouts. So, anyway, man, if you ask me, man, I think, man, it's about time for these young guys to just give it on up, man, and just turn themselves in, man. Because the longer they out here, man, it's just, if they're not gonna leave the country, I mean, you'd be better off living in jail than living out here on the run when you can't show face at all. At all. That's no way to live, man. They broke out and put themselves in an even worse situation. Cause now you gotta shack up. You gotta shack up somewhere and never come out. Or if you're gonna come out, you gotta try to hide and make sure it's too much. It's way too much, man. And obviously a lot of times when guys escape like this, man, they don't go far. They do not go far, man. And that's what it seems like it's going on here. But it's just like, their time is running out. They know it. I'm quite sure Derrick Groves and Antoine Massey, I'm quite sure both of these guys know their time is running out. And that's why this guy is releasing this video, letting the world know that he was railroaded and he need help. He need a good legal team to help him to get out of this situation because he was railroaded, right? He need them to look into this paper that he has and analyze the fact that this woman said that this never happened. So how was he convicted of something that the victim is saying never happened? So as you guys will see in the video, Antoine Massey, he asks, he calls for people like Lil Wayne, Meek Mill, NBA Youngboy, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump, right? I'm guessing because Donald Trump just pardoned NBA Youngboy. I'm guessing he's asking for Donald Trump. I guess he's thinking that Donald Trump is actually nice. He's nice. He's being nice to black people. Let me see if I can reach out to Donald Trump. Anyway, man, I just hope, man, this young brother don't get gunned down, man. Both of these young brothers, man. It's too much. It's too many of us being gunned down, man. And the way these officers, man, you got a lot of trigger happy officers, man, behind that badge. And they already know, man, that this is like this is an easy kill. This is almost like being in the military. If they take one of these guys out, they're probably 98.9% sure that they're going to beat the case. They're going to wiggle their way right up out of that, right? Because these guys being on the run for so long is embarrassing the city, the authorities, the mayor, the jail, just everybody, man. The DA, everybody. Everybody's embarrassed, man. You know, why they can't find these guys? The residents of the community, they're like, why they can't find these guys, man? You got the families of Derrick Groves' victim. These people done got up out of Dodge, man. The police officer that arrested this guy, you know, just a lot of people that played a part in bringing Derrick Groves to justice. A lot of those people left town, man, because they don't know what this young guy's thinking. They don't know, you know, whether he's gonna go all out and do something crazy. They don't know, you know, and that could also be some bullshit, you know, because a lot of times, man, mainstream media, man, and the police, they like to try to throw people off, you know, make it seem like to the people that these guys are very dangerous. You know, they're so dangerous that people are leaving town, man, because these guys are out here. You know, I don't know. But anyway, man, I know this was a rather long one, man, but like I promised y'all, man, I'm going to keep updating y'all as more information on this situation come across my desk. You know, and we're going to examine and break down and review these cases together, man. You know. But anyway, until next time, it's your boy, Mr. 1751. I love y'all, man. Y'all mean so much to me, man. I just want to thank y'all for the unwavering support, man, and helping this channel grow. Because without y'all, man, this channel would be nothing, man. You know. So we're gonna continue to grow together, man. I'm gonna continue to do my part, and I would appreciate if y'all continue to tune in and rock out with your boy. Anyway, until next time, it's your boy, Mr. 1751.
These people are corrupted. These people was talking to St. Tammany and telling St. Tammany they gonna sentence me behind this, and telling St. Tammany if they can't get me, St. Tammany gonna get me. You see what I'm saying? Behind a woman that's a grown adult that never stated that I ever raped her. They have a detective that's over the case, that's trying to pursue charges on me because of my prior history. Who I was in the past is not who I am today. So I'm asking for the media. I don't even have a lawyer to help me. I'm asking for help. That's why I ran. You feel me? I'm a grown man, man. I have kids. I have a mother. I have a baby mother, a child, my children mother. Like it's a lot going on. And that's why I ran. I need help. You feel what I'm saying? Orleans Parish and St. Tammany is one of the corruptest parishes in the world. And I'm asking for help. There's a lot of corruption, juggins, all type of stuff going on, and they covering it up. They don't care about nothing. In the state of Louisiana, this is something that needs to go under a federal investigation. What's going on? How they having cases? Why Antoine Massey was in jail if the woman, the victim, the grown woman, not a child, the grown woman stated that he never raped her. He never beat her.